After seeing early spy shots, I was initially in two minds on the much anticipated 2020 Indian Challenger. I like the specs of the all-new engine, but I was unsure of the styling, in particular the tiller style handlebars. But now, after getting a really good look at the Challenger, I must say I like it. So much so, it's now on my list as a potential upgrade for my 2015 Vulcan 1700 Vaquero. I've never ridden an Indian before. Previous models, for some reason, just didn't excite me. But surprisingly, this is the first Indian motorcycle that has me wanting a test ride. After reviewing all the features, details and specs, and seeing the bike in action, it's a real contender and something I will be test riding in the near future. Features of the 2020 Indian Challenger that have me particularly interested are the higher horsepower and higher torque figures of the all-new liquid-cooled engine, electronically adjustable windscreen, frame-mounted fairing, instruments placed high and an easy line of sight of the rider, large sat-nav infotainment system placed within easy reach of the rider, and comfortable-looking ergonomics. I really like the styling of the Challenger. The more I look at it, the more I like it. I like the styling of the engine, standard footboards, Brembo monoblock front calipers, dual 320mm front discs, upside down forks, top-loading panniers that slightly extend over the mufflers, hydraulically adjustable Fox rear shock, and electronic goodies like lean-sensitive ABS and traction control and rider modes. It's like someone went through and made sure the new Challenger ticked all my personal boxes for the perfect cruiser/tourer. It even comes standard with a long-haul seat. As I'm putting this video together, I'm compelled to stop and ring my local Indian dealer to get a price and availability date. Let's check the website instead. Logging on to the Indian Australian website, I'm also drawn to the new Indian Chieftain. I'm really liking the direction Indian are going with the styling of their new motorcycles, although $38,995 Australian dollars is a lot of money. Here's the Challenger. I feel this bike is a better fit for me. Dark Horse or Limited? I think I like the chrome look better of the Limited, but I know a lot of you out there will prefer the blacked out look. Starting at $39,995 Australian dollars, yep, that's definitely a lot of money, especially when you compare the range of cars you can buy for those dollars. Given what you get standard in new cars and the extra build complexity, it really has me wondering why motorcycles are so expensive. But back to the Challenger. Let's check the specs. Engine capacity is 1768 cc's or 108 cubic inches and has a peak torque of 178 Nm, that's 131 foot-pounds, at 3,800 RPM. With the increased horsepower and torque, I'm worried the new liquid-cooled engine might be revving higher and developing its power and torque higher up in the rev range, which could make the bike feel less torquey at lower revs. Let's see how it compares to what I'm already riding, the Vulcan 1700 Vaquero, and we'll throw in a 107 cubic inch Harley engine for good measure. As we can see, the stock Vaquero is producing its peak torque of 99 foot-pounds at 3000 RPM, a full 800 RPM earlier than the Indian Challenger engine. I'm running a custom tune from Ivan's Performance, which lifts my peak torque to 108 foot-pounds at 2700 RPM. That's 1100 RPMs earlier than the Challenger. Looking at the Harley 107 dyno charts, we can see stock it produces its max torque of 101 foot-pounds at around 3000 RPM and gets closer to the 110 foot-pounds of torque of the Vaquero once a Stage 2 Screaming Eagle kit is fitted, although the peak torque figures shift up to 3500 RPM. Although the figures listed for the 2020 Road Glide on Harley's website claim 111 foot-pound at 3,250 RPM, this contradicts the graph Harley displays when comparing the benefits of adding Screaming Eagle gear. Bottom line is, looking at these figures, I feel you'll have to use the revs on the Challenger to get the most out of it. Only first-hand riding experience will tell if the power delivery is right for me or you. Looking at the wheel sizes, it runs a 19-inch wheel on the front and a 16-inch wheel on the rear. And the tyre widths are 130mm for the front and 180mm for the rear. Looking at the dimensions and comparing the weight of the Challenger to the Vaquero, we see the Vaquero comes in at 844.5 pounds wet, or 383 kilograms, and the Challenger weighs in at 381 kilograms, or 840 pounds wet. With the comparable weights, geometries and pulled back tiller style bars, the Vaquero and Challenger should feel very similar in handling. But with the Challenger's extra capacity, horsepower and torque, the Challenger should definitely feel more spirited. As a comparison, the Harley Road Glide weighs in at 855 pounds wet, 388 kilograms, slightly heavier but not by much, and it's debatable if you'd noticed a difference. I also like the fact that the Challenger has full LED lighting, full GPS sat-nav as standard, and the Indian bonnet on the front guard is a nice touch. Another thing I want to compare is suspension travel. Basically, suspension travel provides comfort. The Vaquero has 5.5 inches or 140mm of travel on the front and 3.1 inches or 79mm of travel on the rear. The Challenger has 5.1 inches or 130mm of travel on the front and 114mm or 4.5 inches on the rear. So less travel on the front than the Vaquero, but more on the rear. But that is from a single rear shock, which has different geometry to twin mounted rear shocks like the Vaquero. But having said that, I'm still expecting a better ride from the Challenger. Again, a test ride is the only way I'll know. Suspension travel is not listed for the Road Glide. We also need to compare the seat heights. The Vulcan is 28.7 inches or 729mm. The Challenger seat height is 26.5 inches or 672mm, and the Road Glide's is 25.9 inches or 658mm. At 25.9 inches, the Road Glide has the lowest seat height and the Vaquero has the tallest, almost 3 inches taller. The Challenger sits neatly in the middle. I'm 6'2" and sit flat-footed and very comfortably on the taller Vulcan, but people under 6 foot will probably be more comfortable on the Indian or Road Glide. Comparing fuel tank capacities, the Challenger has 22.7 litres or 6 US gallons, which is identical to the Harley Road Glide. And the Vaquero has a smaller tank at 5.3 US gallons. So there you go. I think that's a good look at the new 2020 Indian Challenger. I must say I quite like it, and think Indian have done a great job on the styling, performance and features of the new Challenger, and it's the first Indian motorcycle that has me seriously considering an upgrade. And for that reason, I'm adding the new 2020 Indian Challenger to the ever-growing list of bikes I like.